To some explorers, it was forbidding. Today, it's alluring. Once a rest station for excited fortune seekers, its own resources have since produced untold wealth. Far from an attempted revolution, it tied a nation together. And while statehood was repeatedly denied by Washington, it was eventually accepted. For centuries, ancient Indians attested to the land's demand for compromise and respect. Some arrived and stayed. Others left, only to return later. Most never returned. Reports of the land surfaced from late 18th to early 19th century adventurers, explorers, entrepreneurs, and immigrants. Settlement in the arid lands would be difficult. In 1850, a congressional committee granted territorial recognition, naming Utah after the area's prominent Ute Indian tribe. President Millard Fillmore appointed Brigham Young as the territory's first governor. The quest for statehood wouldn't be nearly as easy. Between 1849 and 1887, 6 Utah petitions for statehood were submitted and rejected. During the same period, 3 other territories, Oregon, Nevada, and Colorado, were accepted into the Union. 3 additional territories, Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho, were also added over the next 3 years. Ironically, as Utah was being denied statehood, it also became the site where the United States was tied together. Called the Wedding of the Rails, on May 10, 1869, a golden spike was driven through a final link of track, completing a road of iron from sea to sea. And Americans could finally travel from east to west, courtesy of the Iron Horse, and at several times the former speed. The event was sweet for everyone. On September 25, 1890, under heavy pressure from Congress, Wilford Woodruff drafted a proclamation ending the practice of taking more than one wife. For Mormons, a window closed, but another would soon open. Then on January 4, 1896, President Cleveland issued a proclamation granting statehood. On January 6, Utah was inaugurated as the 45th state of the Union. And 100 years later, Utah's Centennial flame burns brightly for a century of unity.
Give it to me, I'll read it. Arriving noon train Thursday, stop. Love to Ephraim and Kitty, stop. Sincerely, Mother, stop.
Wonton Nation?
You idiot, that telegram was for Etta Mae Clark.
Yeah!
Of all the lame brain.
And here I was, waiting for good news.
Ephraim! That's my mother you're referring to!
Hold it. Hold it, listen.
Challenge of the desert, moving town with eager hearts and hands combined. And now we long to the privilege and the pleasure to rejoin the country that we left behind.
Quiet, quiet! I have a telegram from Washington. President Cleveland signed the proclamation. Utah's been granted statehood.
The state of Utah, no longer just a territory, call us Utah, 'cause that's the place we are, the state of Utah. It's time to change our glory, so Betsy Ross get up to thread and sew another star. For 50 years we watched the borders of this nation swell and grow until they reach from shore to shore. And now the time has come at last for celebration as we take our place beside the other countries for the state of Utah. And every citizen's excited here in Utah. How grand it feels to say the state of Utah, because we're proudly reunited as the newest family member of the USA. To spread the word, here and far, let it be heard that we are among the states, the very latest, dare we say the very greatest. Hallelujah, a state is what we are.
Let our hearts be filled with pride to know that we were here when Utah became the 45th state in the United States of America.
for nearly 50 years, the people of these valleys have been prayerfully and patiently watching and waiting for this blessed day. Ever since my earliest childhood, I have been taught that someday the people of Utah would be accorded their political rights and be permitted to exercise every privilege that the citizens of other states exercise. When I think of these things and when I remember my teachings, I need not say to you, because you all understand, that this is the proudest day of my life. And when I say that, I echo the sentiments of 250,000 people who see a new star upon our glorious flag. I now present to you your chief executive upon his taking the oath prescribed by the Constitution, which will now be administered by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the new state.
You solemnly swear that you will support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of the state of Utah, and that you will discharge the duties of your office with fidelity?
I do. It is an important occasion that has brought us together today under the spacious roof of this historic building. We are here to join in the ceremonies attending the birth of a new state of the Union. The circumstances surrounding the birth are most happy and auspicious. It is proper, therefore, that we indulge in mutual congratulations. In the great firmament of nations, the United States is the constellation most beautiful, most sublime. Down the stream of time, through all ages, may Utah be one of the brightest stars in that glorious constellation. The benediction will now be given by Reverend T.C. Iliff of the First Methodist Church.
Almighty God, we present to Thee the profound gratitude of our hearts for the occasion which assembles us here at this hour. May the unclouded sky of this high noon be a fitting symbol of the increasing luster that shall shine upon our new state forever. May the unity of all hearts and their glad acclaim of today be the sure benediction that will rest upon us and our children in all the future. And now may peace, peace, glorious peace, which has come to Utah after the long years of conflict, be undisturbed. May no one ever have reason to regret that the 45th star was placed in our country's flag of stars and stripes. May all the people's purpose and determination make Utah the pride of the whole nation. God of our fathers, by whose hand thy people still are blessed, be with us through our pilgrimage. Conduct us to the end. Amen.
That original ceremony in 1896, a huge cloth American flag with a shining 45th star covered this entire ceiling, while today modern laser technology projects on the ceiling the image of the American flag. And in 1896, Governor Wells' enthusiastic remarks lasted over 2 hours. At that 1896 ceremony, 3 citizens spoke. Reverend T. Seeloff of the First Methodist Church, President Wilford Woodruff of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints offered a prayer which was read because of his poor health by his friend and counselor George Q. Cannon, and the inaugural address by the 45th State's first governor, Heber M. Wells. As in 1896, the concluding speaker will be the governor, the Honorable Michael O. Leavitt. Thank you and welcome, Utah, to your second century, filled with promise and unlimited possibility.
Today we begin a new century, building on the solid foundation laid by those who've gone before. They planned wisely and built well. This remarkable edifice in which we meet is an example of their work. Now, with assurance, with confidence, and with faith, we look to the future. There will be challenges, but none so formidable as were faced and overcome in the past. As we move forward into this promising new century, may this favored Western Commonwealth become as a city set upon a hill whose light cannot be hid. May God bless this, our beloved state of Utah, and those of future generations who will become its fortunate citizenry. Thank you, my dear friends, and let us go forward. God being our helper, we shall not fail.
Thank you, President Hinckley, and thank you to the Centennial Commission. Today we celebrate Utah's successes in the last 100 years, but it is also an occasion for us to examine Utah's role in the next 100 years. Utah is not the biggest state in the Union, nor are we likely to be the most powerful economically or politically. But in a world where many grope for sustainable core, we can play a vital role. Utah must be the place in the future, a place of quiet quality, a mentor state, a state where people pass on to future generations the ageless values. Like the youngest brother who preserved the glowing embers until the flame could be rekindled, Utah can be among the places where the world turns to renew its sense of basic values. Let that be our role, to blow upon the embers when the flame dims. Let this be the place where each person nurtures the flame within themselves and willingly passes a torch to another whose fire has gone out. Let Utah be a keeper of the flame, not for a century, but forever.
you. Happy birthday, Utah.
It's a pleasure to be here and represent the United States Postal Service on this special occasion. I would like to begin by thanking all of you for helping celebrate a stamp that truly belongs to each and every Utah. This stamp honors all of those who have worked so hard to make this state great. Since 1850, when Willard Richards was appointed the first postmaster of Salt Lake City, the post office has been an integral part of the state of Utah. Today, the Postal Service still plays a vital role in our state, but the way the mail has been delivered has changed a great deal. It had to in order to keep up with the 180 billion pieces of mail we delivered last year. The Utah statehood stamp is the first U.S. postage stamp of 1996. The stamp design featuring Delicate Arch in Arches National Park was unveiled at the state capitol in November. Delicate Arch is a window through which many people see our state. No other state enjoys such a unique and beautiful landmark. As is customary with first day of issues, the city of issue is the only place where you can get a postage stamp today. Tomorrow, post offices around the state and across the country will be selling this beautiful stamp. And soon letters coast to coast and around the world will carry a small piece of Utah. The artist responsible for this beautiful stamp is a native Utah. Finally, I want to say that Utah is a state that's rich with history, and the Postal Service is very proud to be playing a part of that history today and in the Centennial celebration by issuing this stamp. Thank you very much.
And I think this is so exciting. I just can't help but think as we go through and see this beautiful sagebrush and everything out here, it's a lot easier ride than what our forefathers had. And we're here celebrating the legacy that they have made for us. And it's pretty exciting to be part of that and feel the spirit of our ancestors in all of this celebration. I love it.
I'm 63 and the state's 100.
This is just sort of a travel through time and space for us, just to participate and try to vicariously live the lives that our ancestors were at some point in time.
I'm excited to be a part of this, and I think every Utahn ought to be excited to be a part of this. I think every Utahn ought to study up on just what it took for Utah to become the 45th state and all the work that went into it.
It's really here, 100 years at last. And to see all those school children and all those people that gathered around while they were playing the Stars and Stripes Forever just really meant something to me, and I think that will spread throughout the state now, and we'll have this tremendous feeling of patriotism and love for our state.
Well, obviously it's a time of reflection about Utah's history and the excitement of statehood 100 years ago that was so hard fought for. But it's also a time of looking forward and thinking about, gee, what's the next 100 years going to bring? And I think it's important that we do that we pause every so often and look around and see what's going on and then give some thought to what the future holds.
Reading about the struggle that we had for statehood has made me appreciate Utah so much more. I think it's really exciting.
I'm hopeful that it will be a combination of not just marking 100 years, but an acknowledgement of all that we have to be thankful for. For people who have, for generations, come from many lands to become known as Utahns, to settle valleys that were hard to settle. I hope it'll also be a time we not just reflect on the past, but we talk about the future and what we want the next 100 years to be like. Now's the time for us to be planning, and to be dreaming, and to be preparing. I think if we do that, the next 100 years will be even better than the last.